بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. Dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum. I pray that you are well, inshallah. It is really an honor to spend another night with you. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, on the Wednesday there's also the maqtal, but for the lecture, inshallah, we have tonight and tomorrow. Although, as I said, Wednesday there is a program. Thank you so much. So, it's been an interesting journey the past few nights. Thank you so much to all who have, with their presence, with their work, the volunteers, everyone made it possible. There were a few questions that came, many questions are coming through different ways. Bless. One of the lovely people messages my dad. He doesn't have my number, so my dad every night sends me a few messages. I'm like, Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm really glad that they're coming. Some of the questions I've already answered, so I really recommend maybe some of the nights may be worth watching one more time. There were a few nights which had maybe too much content, so if you go back later on at home, make yourself a cup of chamomile and sit down and watch again, it may actually see that some of the questions are answered there. But inshallah tonight I will try to explore a little bit further. If you're ready, please recite the salawat. Tonight the topic is very important. And we're going to talk about one of the ways in which good people get tricked by shaitan. A lot of people fall into this trap. MashaAllah, shaitan, amazing psychologist. Brilliant. It would be amazing to do a podcast with shaitan, and this person could share their experiences of how throughout centuries he's learned our weak spots. In order to explain this trick of shaitan, I want to start from a place where it's easier to accept. Because if I say it right away, many of you may not agree. It's maybe too emotional to accept. So we're going to start from an easier point. I want to start talking about Qarun. Many of you are familiar with Qarun in the Quran, a very wealthy person. To the extent that the people at the time, whenever they saw Qarun, they were really impressed by it. They had envy of him. Pay attention, we're building something together if it's okay. Qarun, this wealthy guy, had become the point of envy of a lot of people. Even some of them refer to him as the owner of Dhu Hadhin Azim. Wow, he's gotten a great share. Was so fortunate person. This was people's view of what makes a person fortunate. People go to him, some good people. You have so much wealth, why don't you spend it for the other people? Some of your wealth, share it with others. This brother Qarun says, no, it's my money. Why should I share it with others? They tell him, it's really God money at the end of the day. He says, no, I gained this ala ilmin indi. God didn't give it to me. It's not like one day I woke up and an angel came and delivered this wealth to me. No, I used my own knowledge. I worked hard. This wealth is mine. Quran to Qarun says, Qarun John, okay, dear Qarun, You used your knowledge. Who gave you the knowledge? Where did the knowledge come from? So my father was, come up with different answers he could have said. I don't know, I learned it from my father, I learned it there. I said, it's not from yours, you got it from somewhere. Who put that in your life? I worked hard. Who gave you the ability to work hard? Who gave you that discipline? Qarun may say, no, actually, I was really lazy early on. I watched a few YouTube videos, I became hardworking. So, okay, who put that teaching in front of you? You will see whatever Qarun wants to point at to say, this is mine, God says, I gave that to you. If it's your knowledge, hope you were in a family where maybe you had good genes, you had a sharp mind, maybe there were people around you who helped you with that knowledge. It's not really something you can say, it's mine. It's more of a gift of God. This part, for many people who are a little bit tawheedi and God-centered, it's easy to accept. Okay, my talents are a gift of God, my money, my wealth is a gift of God, and I have to spend it in a beautiful way. Does this part make sense? This was meant to be the easy part. Even in the Quran, we see what happens to Qarun. Qarun, because he doesn't accept, poor thing, he has to face the consequences. There's even a hadith by Imam Ali alayhi salam. He says, wherever you see poverty in the world, be sure that there are some people who God gave them more abilities and they are hoarding it. They are not bringing it back to the community. The way you were meant to have a good community was that each person in some area has more talents. Maybe one person is a better doctor, one person makes money more, one person understands religion more. We all have different gifts. Bring those back and share it. Well, not in a way that like it's all for everyone. I'm not trying to go there, but I'm saying the hadith says whenever you see there are certain group in a society that are really suffering in poverty, they have no opportunities, make sure there are some people somewhere who did the Qarun thing, didn't share back some of what God had given them. With money, to some extent, this is understandable. And I know many of you beautiful souls who are successful, you keep giving back in forms of charity, in many different forms. This is not something complicated. You're all trying to, if a person, for example, sees that, even now, a few nights ago, I saw some person here was saying that we're trying to mentor the youth. They've gone through experiences, they've learned the ways of the world. They're like, if God gave this to us, let us go to the younger generation, bring them up. Now, I want to say this applies to every aspect of life. If our wealth and the knowledge with which we gained it is a gift of God, if we were in a different country, maybe we didn't have it, your ability to see the truth is the same. Qarun couldn't say, I'm better than those people because I have more money. God says, I gave you that ability. You're meant to bring it back. In the same way, I can't say, oh, I see the truth. You don't see the truth, so I'm better than you. If I see an action is wrong, another person doesn't see that, of course it's better to see an action is wrong. But just because I see it and they don't, doesn't make me a better person. It's a gift of God. And now I need to find a way to share it with that person too, so that person also sees that action is wrong and they stop it. Think about it. Many of us may look at certain things happening around us in the world culturally and easily notice it's wrong. Then you look at another person in the world and like, how come they don't see it's wrong? Usually we fall into the trap, that must be because I'm better than them. But think about it. When did we ever work for realizing some of the truths that we know. You grew up in a family that gave you most of the truths, so much of the efforts of your grandparents and your ancestors. When did we ever put some work into realizing some of the truths that now if someone doesn't see them, we feel we're better than them? I don't know, does this make sense? If it does, please recite salawat only if it does. A person may find it easier not to get angry. Another person may find it easier to see certain thing is wrong. Another person may find it easier to be brave. The person who finds it inside that it's easier to be brave cannot say to the person who finds it difficult to be brave, "Oh, you coward." They should say, "Okay, God gifted this to me. Let me look and see what did he give me that made me strong and brave, and I share those with you." All the problems of the world go to this link being cut. Those who had received certain things, instead of looking inside and see what was in my life through which God gave me this ability so that now I can share it with those who don't, this must mean I'm better, and these are the lazy people of the world, the cowards of the world, the naughty people of the world. And just by breaking this, they just shout at them, "Become brave like me." The person doesn't know you didn't become brave because someone shouted at you to be brave. There are structures, infrastructures within your life, within your psyche that makes that possible. Oh, I'm so sorry. This had a message. I didn't check. It went to the password thingy. Probably we're saying people should come forward. Okay, so please, if it's okay, come a little bit forward. Thank you so much. Bless you. I'm really apologizing for the inconvenience. I promise when I go home, I get up and move a little bit forward so I feel the pain as well. What was I saying? If it's okay, let's recite salawat to come back here. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. What would I do without salawat? Half of my lecture would be empty. I was saying, with money, Quran made it clear. Even if you say, "I gained it with my own knowledge," God says the ability to gain that knowledge, where did it come from? If you say, "No, I see the truth because I read this book," I can put you in part of the world where you would never have access to that book. So even if you say, "I read a book," the ability to have access to that book, to afford it, to not be in a family that they would make it impossible for you to even consider that book, all of this you can't take ownership of. So no matter what good thing you find inside yourself, it is good. Bravery is good. Seeing that hurting others is bad, this is good, but it's just not yours. It's a gift to you. But it wasn't just a gift to you, it was a gift to everyone given to you, so you share it with others. Imagine if all the, for example, people who taught us about religion want to say, "No, I know more than everyone. Why should I share it with them?" No, they were like, "It's not mine." Everyone's worked, created, for example, ways of learning knowledge. They go, they learn knowledge, they bring it back. The moment a person in any field feels what they have makes them better, the relationship between them and the people who need that gift is cut. If I, for example, as a person who speaks about religion, think because I know more, for example, or I may know more or I may know less, but let's say I know more about Imam Ali, that makes me a better person, my relationship with you would change. Kibr would come inside my heart, I would treat you like look down at you, and you yourself would feel it. And your heart would become hard to it. And many people are already like that. Many people have been looked down for so long by people who were meant to teach them religion. They haven't "you're not better than me" in their face. Sometimes when I go to a center and they haven't seen me before, they may think I may look down at them. When they say salam, I can see in their eyes, they're telling me, "Don't think you're better than us." And I'm like, wallah, I don't. Why? Because so many people have looked down on people. "Why are you doing this? This is haram. This will take you to hell." This, okay, Baba, relax. Now, the same thing can happen in any field. The person in front of you may really need the gift you have. But before you want to give it to them, you disable any possibility of a connection being possible. First, you tell the person you're a coward, and then you're like, "You should be like this." How do you think they would accept it because of that? Now let me take you to the Quran and share a story which is crazy level of this. Fir'aun, you have Fir'aun on the one hand, يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. You all know what kinds of crimes Fir'aun has done. And on the other hand, you have Musa, this amazing prophet of God. Musa knows what Fir'aun is doing is wrong. Fir'aun is doing a million wrong things. Musa hasn't done any of that. Musa knows what Fir'aun is doing is wrong. Musa, does that make you better? Musa says no. You must have all heard that story. God told Musa, "Bring someone you're better than." Musa couldn't find anyone in the world. Musa, past what is it? Fir'aun's actions are good. Musa says, "No, it's bad. But the fact that I know doesn't mean I'm better than him. I need to find a way to share this gift with him." Even God tells him, قُولُوا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرَ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Musa, when you want to pass this gift to Fir'aun, to tell Fir'aun that all you're doing is wrong, killing people is wrong, don't speak to him in a way that he gets defensive. Don't make him feel you're better than him. Speak very layyana. Why? لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرَ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Maybe he realizes. Maybe he changes. The main problem in the world we have right now is that those who had the truths, those who knew, for example, modesty is good, those who knew truth is good, those who knew this is good, that is good, they taken that inside, feel better than others, look down at the rest of the world, and want to order them to become like them. Ordering doesn't work. And this is not just when it comes to religion, by the way. Even in the self-help world, it's like that. In simple things, like having discipline, like sleeping on time. Just a few weeks ago, by the way, if you know this, you're so ahead in life. So many people wouldn't waste your time. Just a few weeks ago, I watched a couple of podcasts. I want to share the insights with you. It wasn't shared in the podcast. It was like reflection on the podcast. There's this podcast scientist who's really become famous now. He was reflecting on something. He said, "You know what? I'm giving people the blueprint for success to become like me. I don't know why these guys don't follow it. Everything is mentioned here. I'm telling them, you need to do this and do that. They just don't follow through." I'm like, Habibi, you don't realize the reason you follow through is not because someone told you. There were infrastructures in your life, in your psyche, in your personality, in your genetics. You didn't become this person because you watched a podcast who told you to become like this. A million things happened in your life to make you this disciplined person. A person has received a gift in life from God. He doesn't know what is the source of it. He tries to rationalize it. Maybe this is the way. And they themselves always say, no one who follows our way gets there. Another one of the best sellers in the self-help industry, he said, I've stopped writing books because we tell people everything they need to know, no one changes. I'm like, yes, because those things you think people should know are not the way you gain that skill. Life gave it to you through a million ways. You didn't figure that out. You thought you're just like a sunshine that needs to teach the rest of the world. Even in spirituality, this happens. There are many people who naturally find it easier to communicate with God. Poor things, they look at their life, they're like, how come I find it easier to talk to God than others, to feel God's presence? They get tricked. They think, oh, maybe that's because I'm better than others. So then they start giving us ways. I think it's because that day I did Salatul Layl. You do Salatul Layl, become like me. Nah, Habibi. It's got nothing to do with that Salatul Layl. If you give prescriptions, you will put everyone in these dead-end roads. I have seen people like that. God gave him a gift. He thought he earned it. And then he even gives prescription to people. Follow it. See if anyone will get anywhere. So this is one, we can talk a whole series on this. Do you know there are some people who really choose a hedonistic life? So they're like, you know what, Hassan, I don't care about values. I want to go for my pleasure. Do you know why? Because they've been looked down so much by people who was easier for them to follow values. But instead of sharing with them how, they were always looked down upon. And a human soul will never allow anyone to look down at them. If that continues for some time, they will reject everything. The whole fight between religious people who think they're the owners of values and the ones who are rejecting it all goes back to arrogance. People cannot take for someone to look down at them. Even if you're offering the best thing, if it's given with arrogance, people will reject it, reject you, values everything. They will rebel. But they're not rebelling against the values. They're rebelling against the ignorance and the arrogance in my heart. One of the things we need to at some point realize, I hope the sooner we realize this, the better is, anything good you find in yourself, God says, Alhamdulillah. It belongs to God. It's a gift with you. Find a way to share it with others. Please recite salawat and we go to the next section. Just because, for example, I care about a good cause, as we said already, doesn't mean that I'm better than others. Now I want to add to that as well. Doesn't also mean that I know how to achieve my goal. One of the gifts God gives people is to realize they need to care about something. Okay, there's this problem in the world, I care about it. But in order to achieve success, they need another gift, which is how can you go beyond caring for something and actually achieving it? This is very important. Let me give you examples, for example, from the Ahl al-Bayt. Let's say you want more people to learn about religion. That's a very good cause. You want more people to know about the Ahl al-Bayt. That's a very good cause. But it doesn't mean that now you know how to do it. Caring is one thing, knowing how to is another thing. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, everyone now may wish to become like him, like be even his student, be a student of his student. Imam Sadiq for a Shia has such a high place. He had special companions who had been trained by him. Not in a hawza, for example, 1,000 years after the Imam, no, by the Imam. But still, to some of them, he said, can you please not teach religion? Imam Sadiq, to some of his own special students, said, Bibin, you have the truth, but your strength is not in sharing it. When you speak, there's something about your words that confuses people. Sometimes you get passionate, you say something you shouldn't have. Your strength is have teachers, smaller circle. You are good for talking one-on-one. You're good for that. Even if you're a student of Imam Sadiq, doesn't necessarily mean you can go and teach religion. Well, imagine you have someone, Imam Sadiq has told him, your strength is not talking about religion. And other people may go to him and be like, why are you not teaching religion? Don't you have ghira for religion? He says, Agha, having ghira for religion, wanting that to be spread, and the solution are two different things. Not everyone is meant to follow the same solution. Even imagine in a team of football, I'm trying to, by the way, speak a little bit indirect on purpose, so I'm hoping later on you go and maybe even think about this more. Even in a team of football, all the players are following the same goal, but they don't all do the same. When the whole team goes ahead to score, the goalkeeper stays there. You can't tell him, don't you care, go forwards. No, I care, and that's why my duty is to stay here. We're all following the same goal. We all care about the same thing, but we may have different solutions. Or we may have the same solution, but the same solution may mean different responsibilities. To think only my way is the only way to care for a cause has what got insan in trouble from the time of the early prophets, but increasingly at the time of the Prophet and the Ahlul Bayt. Every single Imam we had suffered as a result of this. His companions forced a certain way of acting in the world on the Imam. Do you remember what we were saying? Everyone has a gift in this world. Some people's gift is to care for a cause. Some people's gift is, if you care for a cause, how do you make sure it succeeds? Those were the Ahlul Bayt. But no one cared about their solution. At the story of, for example, the issue people had with the third caliph, Imam Ali told his followers, this is not the way to go for it. They didn't listen. We said Imam Hassan got injured trying to get food to the third caliph. But some of the people there were so passionate, they couldn't think. They forced the Imam to follow a certain way, and Imam said, I can't be forced by you. I'm the one who has the solution. You guys just have passion, and passion usually makes things worse. Self-righteous person who doesn't know what they're doing are usually responsible for half of the problems in the world. Again, when it comes to Siffin, Imam Ali is so close to gaining a victory, a group of people from the side of Imam Ali force him to go for Hakamiyyah, for that session. He's like, guys, this is not the way. People who just have passion force the one who has the gift of a solution to follow them. He doesn't want to. He knows there's no point in this. They don't care. They go, they fail, and they're like, why did you accept us? Why did you listen to us? Even after they see their solution is not working, they don't say, I'm sorry, like, why did you listen to us? At the time of Imam Hassan, the same thing happened. Again, the followers of Imam are so passionate for something. Imam Hassan says, this is not the way. You know what they tell Imam Hassan? You're the disgrace of believers. Ya mudhill al-mu'mini. The same thing with Imam Hussein. The same thing with Imam Sajjad. After the incident of Ashura, a lot of people suddenly wake up. They're like, oh, now we care. Now that Hussein is dead, now we care. They go to Imam Sajjad. Imam Sajjad says, no, this caring is useless. I know you guys, I don't have passion. A few months later, you will give up again. They're like, Sajjad, come, let's do something. He says, no. There's a person there who doesn't listen to the Imam. They start a movement. They gain a little bit of success, which based on the principles of Ahl Bayt, that's not even a success. But a few months later, the people of Kufa again betray him and give him back to the enemy. Imam knew it. These people's passion is only going to last a few months. They didn't listen. Although the interesting thing is, the person, now we even respect him or make a TV series for him. Someone that Imam Sajjad said, I don't like your way of doing things. I know today, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I'm trying to give you some codes that later on, inshallah, will help you. Another thing, Masalan, I think it's good at this stage to bear in mind is, please recite salawat. Let me summarize and then we can end. Tonight, I wanted to share two main things with a lot of smaller points, which maybe later on, if you re-listen, you can capture. The first point was this: anything you find inside which is beautiful is a gift. Find a way to share. Don't turn it into a stick with which you want to hurt others. That was number one. And number two is, if you want the world to get fixed, every other solution has been tried. Don't fall for the same solution the millionth time. The solution was always there with the Ahl Bayt. No one at that time cared. And unfortunately, even now, when I look at the world, I don't see anyone caring for the way of the Ahl Bayt. Ahl Bayt could sometimes see the damages, something that right now may seem good would cause 20 years down the road. A person goes to Imam Sadiq and says, now I want to uprise against the ruler of the time. Imam says, don't do it. I can see that very soon you will be in problem. He doesn't listen to the Imam. He goes and starts the uprising. And initially he has some success. The books of history report that he said, see, Sadiq got it wrong. Look at the success I have. Few months later, everything turned. Hope you bring people down, they're not going to go anywhere. Now they will come back to get you. It only took few months for that celebrated success to show it had nothing inside it. It wouldn't last. The Ahl Bayt always told people, the enemy we have is only ignorance. And if you want to finally, once and forever, solve the problem of the world, you should be addressing ignorance. Addressing ignorance takes time. Addressing ignorance cannot be like 1 second you get passionate, you want to end everything. And in that 1 second when you get passionate, you even destroy the work of people who have been working for tens of years. Hassan has more passion, or those Shias who suddenly after Imam Ali think they're somebody. In that one moment of passion, they go and tell Hassan, you're disgrace of believers. Sajjad cares more about the world, or those Shias who killed Imam Hussein afterwards, they were like, oh, we killed him, and they repented. But when they repent, they don't realize, Baba, Sajjad all along was with Hussein. Don't go crazy. Listen to him. Don't bring the talents down because you feel something. And I think that's the last point I wanted to mention in this lecture series. And inshallah from tomorrow we will be talking about Imam Zaman a little bit. I'll just mention a few minutes about Imam Zaman to prepare our hearts for tomorrow. In the same way that our Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Sajjad, Imam Hussein are all misunderstood, Imam Zaman is also very misunderstood. If you don't get Hussein, you don't get Mahdi. If you think Hussein is Mazlum, we need to get revenge for him, you turn your Mahdi into an angry person who wants to come after 14 centuries, get revenge for something that happened 14 centuries ago. If your Sajjad, if your Ali is not beautiful the way they were, your Mahdi is also not interesting. Your Imam Zaman is not interesting. Do you know there are many people within the community, they tell me some of the lectures we hear about Imam Zaman makes us scared. There are some people who think Imam Zaman is going to come and get rid of some people for them. If God wanted to end the problems of the world with getting rid of people who have illnesses, we didn't need to wait thousands of years. If humanity's journey on earth has lasted thousands of years, it's because the only way out is for all of us to unite on beauty, on truth. As the Quran says, تعالوا إلى كلمة سواء بيننا وبينكم. ببین, right now, the majority, the main unfortunately idea in the minds of a lot of beautiful people is that the world is going towards a place where it's going to be the battle between the good and the bad people. This is a completely wrong idea. It's a dangerous idea. It goes against the Quran. It goes against the teachings of Ahl Bayt. It goes against the purpose of us being in this world. You think the ending of the story created by Rahman ar-Rahim is that at the end of it there would be a massive war between two groups of people? That's how a Rahman ar-Rahim would write a story? He would wait thousands of years for that awful ending? Anyone who makes a certain part of the world an enemy that at some point needs to be got rid of, or Imam Zaman will come to finish them off, does not even know what Imam means. Imam Sadiq in Ziyarat Arba'in says, لِيَسْتَنْقِذَ عِبَادَكَ مِنَ الْجَهَالَةِ وَحَيْرَةِ الظَّلَالَةِ. The Prophet, the Imams came to remove ignorance from the heart of people. If now you see in the world one cup is full and one cup is empty, which is not, by the way, even the people you hate sometimes have good stuff, but let's say this is even. The story is not that at one day we'll throw this cup away. The story is share the good inside so that everyone becomes beautiful. It's not a battle between good and evil. It's that you've received gifts of good that you're meant to share so everyone has beauty in their heart. That's why Imam Zaman is not coming. Because Imam Zaman wants that type of people who look inside if there's anything beautiful. They don't say, this makes me better. They're like, Imam Zaman, how can I share this with the world? It's an amazing thing to realize. If in your heart you feel there's some part of it that says, yes, I like this story more, appreciate that. It's a gift of God. Thousands of years, Prophet came to share this. We couldn't accept. We were in so much pain, and I get us, by the way. I get a person who's so hurt that says, no, I need to get this pain out sometimes. I get our traumas. I get the pains of people. I get the wounds of people. No one is saying go against your pain. Hussein is saying, come to my Safinatun Najah, let me heal your wound so that when you go in the world is not a place where you want to empty your anger or revenge. We are a'immat al-huda, the imams of guidance. You have pain, let me heal it for you. Come back to the world only to share the beauty. Don't look down on people. And you will be surprised how soon people can change. It's the promise of Quran. The best way to bring people towards God, towards that moment when humanity, all of us, without exclusion, we all realize we are created by a loving God. God says in the Quran, idfa' billati hiya ahsan. You need to, even if someone does something wrong, you reply with something that's nice, something that's beautiful. And the Quran says, I promise the person between you and them, there's an enmity, becomes a close friend. Waliyan Hamim. This is the only way. If you care about the future of children, if you care about the future of your grandchildren, the children of the world, this is the only way. Every other way has been tried. 2 years of success, everything comes back. As long as there's even a few groups of people in the world who don't accept beauty, there will always be pain, and they will only accept it if you don't look down on them. And now let us go towards the Masa'ib. It's a beautiful time now. If you feel like this is an idea you may be interested in, soften your heart. Ask God to allow this light to grow in your heart. And I have so much respect for you. Please recite the salawat.